causing schedules disruptions all around. It is Stephano.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left. It is the red player from Russia. Give it up for Strange. And man, did he ever live up to his name in that series between him and Max Pax? That was just nutty.
That was so bloody weird. I'm just fixing some scene stuff. Yeah, close enough, that'll do. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely insane. Strange is the name of the game. Now in PvZ, I don't know if I'd expect something quite as wild. I certainly don't expect it to be run-of-the-mill normal. For some reason, my UI has changed. Okay, don't worry about that. I'll fix it after this game. Remind me, Steadfast. Yes. You are my evil minion today. I've decided that we're going to take over the world together. Anyway, it was a very, very strange series. Now, Strange, in terms of the bracket, it's been doing okay. Not incredible, not god-awful. Stephano has been doing okay as well, I think. I'm not massively sure, because I can't remember right now. But I'd expect this to be a pretty close matchup.
Yeah, I would expect it to be pretty close as well. Both of these players are at 1 and 2 right now in sets. Strange has an extra game up on his opponent, but they're both definitely on the outside looking in. However, there is something strange brewing in Group B, where we have 4 players at that 1 and 2 score line. So you know, it's going to come down a lot to matches like these to determine who actually will make the playoffs. And you know, if Stephano can put together a couple of wins here and there, this is one of those groups where maybe a 3-4 scoreline might actually make playoffs, and a 4-3 looks very promising.
And in that case, head-to-head could be really, really important. So both of these players will be looking for a win here, and most likely, even if it is going to be that map score comes in, so you're going to want to win 2-0 ideally. Now, we have had a slight change in schedule where Stephano has had some, I'm not too sure, but he's had some emergencies where he needs to get his games out the way. So Stephano is going to have the advantage today of playing like nearly all of his games. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, because I do feel like momentum of a positive or negative can really affect you, and not having time to prepare for all your games, or on the other hand, getting on a winning streak and just playing really well and warm could impact it. What do you think about Stephano playing all of his maps today?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. It could either go very, very well, or it can go extremely poorly. It all depends on mindsets, and then also, like you said, momentum. So this match right now could be a huge determining factor in how well he does. And then additionally, that's going to make the group a little bit funky, because we're going to have most of the results kind of set in place. So it's not just going to be for Stephano, but it's going to be for everyone else thinking about Stephano. He'll be a little bit of a measuring stick coming out of this one. You know, like kind of you can measure yourself against Stephano's record, especially if he ends up at something like he's doing 3 matches today, right?
4, I think.
Oh, he's doing all... Okay, so he is actually finishing up his group.
I think so. I'm not entirely on that. I know we're doing 3 of them. Are we doing 4 of them?
Yeah, you're right. He is. Yeah, he's doing all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now there's a very real possibility that we can... it'll make things funky. Things are going to get really, really funky, and I'm excited about it. I'm also excited about the funky on the right side. Yeah, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of shady boys with that orange glaive upgrade coming in. There's a robo as well. This is how many gateways? 3 gate robo. We have that proxy for even beforehand. So this is hitting, I'd say, as early as it possibly can with this amount of adepts. Of course, if you see a glaive adept push coming, and sometimes you expect to wait for that prism, but this is hitting before the prism is here. The prism will come and reinforce and actually be able to pick up and drop in the main or things like that. But this is scary. The roach warren is done, but there's no roaches out now. Stephano, upon seeing this, immediately starting 4. He has all his queens in the natural right now. There's no way. Why would you let that complete? That is a little bit questionable for sure. The Lings do get on top of that. 5 queens going to put in so much firepower into this. And it will clear out all the Lings. And half the adepts do survive.
3 drones, that's not good, man.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he should not have committed in there.
Yeah, no, this was I mean, as I said, he was kind of waiting for the Prism to add to this, but now there's no point even making a Prism because there's next to no adapts. Instead, he's going to go straight into +1 and start making Immortals and take his third base. But Stephano can be really happy with how he defended that. He's still up at, he's only at 39 workers. Stephano stopped, oh no, he is making drones. Stephano actually going to catch some sentries here. I think he should have committed and killed a sentry maybe. I guess he wants to wait for the rest of his units. Yeah, okay, Stephano's going.
Yeah, I actually think he does have an opportunity here. Strange. A little bit bold of him to be moving out like this. And Stephano, if he can get here, okay, there is an Immortal. This can still be a little bit dicey. Nice force from Strange, but the Immortal is shooting lings right now, and that's not what you want at all.
And all of these sentries are going to go down, and that's, even if this doesn't end the game, and I don't anticipate that it will, where's the scouting going to come from? There's an observer, I guess. The third is going to be pretty safe. I don't know, actually. I'm trying to think whether I like this. Killing the sentries is nice. Let's take a look at our very handy battle report. So it was, yeah, it was pretty good, all said and done, especially in terms of gas killed. Killing the 4 sentries there is a lot of gas investment. But Strange still has his third base. He's got a great work account. His upgrades are good. As we said, he started +1 pretty early. So I think Strange is probably not unhappy.
I would say, to be honest, I would say both players are actually
unhappy.
They're content, but they're not necessarily happy with how it went. Yeah. I would say Stephano is, considering the fact that he was droning out of this and he wanted to just see what damage he could get done, the fact that he got all the sentries is really good because we can see Strange rebuilt those sentries.
Yeah.
So he wanted to put the gas, obviously he wanted to put that into maybe Colossus, maybe a second robotics facility, faster blink.
+2,
but instead
he can't stop that.
He has to kind of, exactly, yeah. Instead he has to kind of slow down his tech a little bit to rebuild those sentries. That's 300 more gas. And Stephano just traded out mostly mineral units for it. So he's,
yeah.
You know, he's okay with this, and now we are going to see Strange moving on out with a kind of a fake push here.
Yeah, this isn't going to find much. It may even be forced to recall here, as we're going to see the army get jumped on. A couple of the bios coming down and connecting there. A few units going down, but he even targeted a sentry on the way out, I think. Just to make sure he gets some maximum kill. That's really nice control there by Stephano. As Stephano now pushes this back, my concern for Stephano is, okay, now he's making the drones that I want to see. He's got around a 13 in the works, but I think he'd probably rather be up closer towards the mid-70s, 80s at this point. And he hasn't been able to do so. He's still got his 4th now up and running though, so he can be happy with that. Gonna clear some rocks off just south of us as well. That pylon might get eventually seen. He's even taken his 5th base, so Stephano really starting to power up here. Meanwhile, Strange, he's getting his Colossus tech. I feel like we don't see a huge amount of Colossus these days.
Not often, and if we do, we usually see something like we saw from Showdown a few days ago, where you go like double Robo Colossus, and you just pump out a bunch. You pump out like 4 Colossus. You get that extended thermal lance, and you just go. You just hit so fast, because if you double chrono those Colossi, you can get them out pretty quickly, and it kind of hits as like a really like big shock to the Zerg player. Yeah. But if you're just going single Robo, there's not that same punch, you know?
No, I agree with you. Like, it takes a long time to get to like 4 Colossus if you do it this way. You can see Strange has stopped at 2, and they're good for dealing with Lings and Ravagers, and they do a little bit of damage to Roaches and stuff, but really, it's not... I feel like you struggle to end the game with 2 Colossus. You just don't quite have the DPS. Now, this many Blink Stalkers on top does help, of course, helps protect, but Stephano's now getting Banelings. He's got his centrifugal hooks completed, so that Baneling speed is up. He's really put a lot of effort into opening up the map as well, so we can start looking for flanks and things like that. His army, though, not really the strongest right now. He's only got +1. He is behind the upgrade for the foreseeable future, about a minute, I'd say. It's a little bit... Ooh! Yeah, okay. Not good.
He did kill a bunch of Zealots with that, but yeah, okay. You want those Banelings to be killing probes for sure. That being said, yeah, this is kind of... He's taking a 4th base, but this is kind of an all-in right now from Strange. He's looking to get a lot done with this. And Stephano, like you said, he did a great job of taking down those 2 sets of rocks around the 5th base. That's going to make it so much more difficult for Strange to engage on in, and he's just not even going to try. Stephano, he is going to get on top of this base, but the army's coming back home anyway, so it should be an easy save.
Yeah, Strange is doing a good job of keeping vision up, actually. He's, I think he has, like, observers or just, observers in different areas of the map, so we can see everything going on. The Prism is just a makeshift observer. That pylon will finally go down, which is nice. And we do see Strange now going for a bit of a push. His army, let's take a look at army value here. Very, very similar. Strange slightly ahead in terms of minerals and gas. But his army, it does need to be microed correctly, of course. Getting a cancel here, very, very nice. He's probably going to be able to go up to the top left and get the same thing. But now we see the Banelings rolling in here, Steadfast. And this time, they're going to hit the shots they were looking for. That is so many dead probes.
Yeah, and he just hit that +2 melee, which means he absolutely obliterates those probes, one-shotting them. And he's going to even be able to get over to the newest base. Oh, if he can get even a single Baneling in, it's going to be brutal. Okay, Strange does pull the probes.
Oh, he's going to get a couple. He gets 3, I think. But we also have a push coming in here, and a bunch of Zealots and Stalkers out of position will get taken. Those were some big biles, actually connecting with the Colossus and a little bit there. But Stephano does need more time to remake his lings. You can see another 30, 40 in the production tab, and to get that Ultralisk Cavern on the way. Stephano certainly making some mogul moves in the last 2 minutes of this game, putting himself in a pretty good spot, but now he just kind of needs to hold on for his tech, I feel.
Yeah, this is a little bit dangerous. He doesn't realize that the Protoss army is right there, and he could get trapped, but he will be able to get at least a fair amount of damage in the meantime. Probes are getting gutted in the bottom right, and the Corrosive Vials are going to do a good job of zoning these units out. He does catch the Immortals as well, which is pretty big. Archons, though, can trap these Ravagers, and this is going to be Stephano basically losing everything right here.
Yeah, this isn't good. This isn't good. It has given him time to get his upgrades going and things, and of course, and to remake all of those Ultras. The base surviving is pretty bad. We have 6 Ultras on the way, but there's already a good amount of Archons at 4 up. Only 1 Immortal, no more on the way. But this is still a scary army that's not actually that bad against not fully upgraded Ultralisks. I wouldn't be... I mean, I'm nowhere near as good as these players, but if I'm Strange, I wouldn't be too scared to see a couple of Ultras popping out right now, because his army can kind of deal with them. That first one lost half its health, like, instantly, because it doesn't have cutting spray in.
No, it doesn't, and Adrenal Gland's not quite done yet either. 3-2 not done. There is 4 upgrades that are pretty critical. Adrenal Gland's will finish up in a moment. Ooh, warping into the main base is going to get dealt with here by Stephano, but here comes the main push. Stephano needs a big flank. Oh, big leap forward. That's a bold move. I hate that.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Now we see these Banelings rolling in. They're getting on top of a lot of the army here. And even some hallucinated Archons trying to tank that fire. But now there's not enough DPS, I feel like, in the back. There's not enough Stalkers constantly firing onto these Ultralisks. And the Queens coming in the back are going to be able to clean this up, maybe? Oh my god, that's a lot of very low health Archons somehow holding on. Somehow finding the damage. The Warpins in the main continue to be an absolute nuisance here. Ultras are falling. And Strange is pushing through, and it looked like maybe he was in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it is very, very close. Transfuse, will there be enough energy here? He's got one more Transfuse.
No.
Oh, he doesn't drop it down. 3 Colossus, one of them getting very low. It's +3 melee Lings, but Lings get melted. Oh, this one Ultra could be the saving grace.
Yeah, I think there might be enough Zealots and Stalkers behind this. If we look at the upgrades, this is only a +4 Ultralisk. It's not fully upgraded. It's going to be able to beat 4 Zealots, but with some Stalker fire, and even just softening these up, there's not that many Queens left. Is there really any? There's none. So these Ultralisks are at the health they are at. And all of the infrastructure now starting to go down. Behind this, Strange is like mining fine. We've got some Banelings, I think, or some Lings trying to roll in here. They're going to find some damage and maybe force a couple of Warpins at home, which is okay. I mean, that is a lot of damage that Stephano desperately needs, but I just feel like he has nothing left. Oh, he has these boys.
No, he does not. This is brutal, actually. Oh man, losing that army, losing all those Ravagers, losing everything, and getting not anywhere near enough in return. Even though he did a bunch of eco damage, Strange's army still kept its power.
Yeah,
and Stephano, I don't know. What do you do in this scenario?
You don't. You don't. I really... Stephano's never going to be able to make any more units. He has no infrastructure. He doesn't really even have hatcheries anymore. Like, he's trying to base race, but we can just see a recall come in, and that's exactly what I was expecting. And now there's 4 Ultras and a small handful of Lings, but I think we're actually going to see a flank come in from the Protoss army, which is the opposite of what we usually say. And there's just... I mean, look at the... Let's take a look at army value once again. 4,800 to 975. Like... It is literally 4 times as strong, and then some. Oh, no, he managed to make some stuff. But yeah, I mean, even every Ling right now, so important. We're seeing the Ultras have to go up to defend the one spot. Oh god, every drone is here.
Oh no.
And there's Colossus. And there's Archons.
Oh,
and then
well,
GG.
with those, yeah.
Sheesh.
Oh man. That was a fun game, but I am very weird. I really wish that Stephano had like, because he sent a Ling to the, or a couple Lings to the left, and he did see that army that was very close to where his main army was. And if he could have gotten out with a few more Ravagers, like if he gets out with all the Ravagers, just the Ravagers, I think that's probably enough for him to hold on the defense. I think he can lose literally everything else for the amount of damage that he did, as long as he has something to provide like additional power behind those Ultras.
Yeah.
We're probably looking at a hold.
Yeah. Yeah, it was scrappy, the fight from both ends. The blink forward and then the Banelings rolling in. But I feel like a couple more Queens, 10 more Lings, or, 3 or 4 more Roaches, and it was a different fight, because those Archons, 2 of them were literally out of shields. And if they go down, the rest of the Ultras just clean up. And we're looking at a different matchup here. But it is just map 1 of the day. We've got 9 best of 3s to go. I've already done it steadfast. I remembered.
Nice.
I know, I'm very talented. Lots of action left, and especially lots of Stephano. It's for those of you who are maybe joining a little bit late, Stephano unfortunately has had some scheduling conflicts. He's going to play all of his remaining games in the group stage, today. So we are doing Stephano versus Strange. Immediately following this, Stephano versus Goblin, which I cannot wait for. For those who don't know, I am Goblin's biggest fan. I've even got his t-shirt, which I made. And then we're going to end the day off with Max Pax versus Stephano, which will be hilarious, and Stephano versus Gerald. So I'm just going to double check. Everyone's like, check your UI. Pro 2020. We have to check these things. I don't know why. Does that happen to you? Like, I didn't play StarCraft yesterday. It was my day off. Nothing else changed. I opened StarCraft today. Everything's reset.
It does. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. It just kind of does that.
It just does it.
You're just like, could you not though? And they're like, oh, we could, but we won't.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us today, guys. We really appreciate it. We are loading into our second map, 2K Atmospheres. Because it's French, and we got French player. No, it's LA, ladder edition. We have the right UI. We did it. Okay. Let us load into the game. And Steadfast, why don't you introduce our first player while I fix everything else I broke? How are you?
Absolutely. Spawning up in the top right position of 2K Atmos. It is Stephano, the aforementioned Frenchman.
And his opponent in the bottom left, he is the Red Russian Protoss player. One of those real up-and-comers that we can't wait to see. It is Strange. Okay. I fixed everything.
Nice.
Talent. Okay. Let's see, what do we got going on here? It looks like Strange is going for a very, very early scout. It is going to be a gateway. He does want to go, of course, for the block here and make Stephano take his natural on his third base. I feel like for a generally very aggressive player, I don't hate this for Stephano. He did actually choose to go for the horizontal third instead of that forward pocket one that we see other players go for if you're going for like a queen walk or something. Like when we saw this against Lambo, for example, he would always take this base here. God, you're so talented, Dave. But Stephano opting for the safer, I guess, one further back here, looking maybe for a bit more macro. I don't feel like I've seen Stephano do many queen walks and things like that. I don't know, actually. Have I? I don't think he has this event, has he?
I don't think I've seen it yet.
No.
He's always been very confident in his late game abilities. Even at times when things are difficult for Zerg, he'll be like, no, it's fine. I'll just have perfect spellcaster control. And you're like, well, okay. And he's like, yeah. And you're like, all right, well, here's your check, I guess. And he's like, thanks. I'll throw it on the pile.
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon he probably has like just a giant pile of those giant checks under his bed. Like,
oh, I hope so.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I've always wanted one of those, but I've never been particularly good at anything except making dumb jokes, and they don't give you giant checks for that. If you just get slap on the wrist and told to tone it down for next time. Anyway, very normal opening here from our Protoss player. Interested to see he is going to go for Warp Gate. No very, very quick Stargate. We saw the Glaive Adept build come out strange in game 1. I've got the score wrong here. Strange 1, didn't he? Yeah. There we go. I fixed it. There is the Stargate, so it's just a slightly later variation here. Maybe a Void Ray or something instead of a very quick Oracle. You can see that the wall is not completed, leaving it a little bit vulnerable. But Stephano right now only on 4 lings, not likely really to find anything.
So this was pretty cute. Strange did start up that Warp Gate first.
Oh, he canceled it.
And then canceled it to get the Stargate and then restarted it.
Yeah.
But I do think Stephano saw that. The only thing I will say is that as a Zerg player, I get myself... So, Protoss buildings... Warp Gate's pretty obvious, but Protoss buildings can sometimes be a little bit subtle, and you can sometimes catch yourself second-guessing.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, and you're just like, wait, what? The worst actually is the Twilight Council. The Twilight Council is so difficult to see what is actually happening.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Now, Void Ray being chronoed out, as sort of anticipated here, going to be able to push back vision. Generally very, very safe. Concerned about like a roach push or something along those lines. It just does a whole bunch of everything very well. And it's super speedy. Strange is playing a very defensive style so far. You can see him adding on that battery. I'm interested to see if he goes Void Ray into Oracle or just a 1 Void Ray or a 2nd Void Ray. So far, it looks like just the 1. And adding on an extra gateway. He's going to go hunting here, adding on his 3rd and 4th gases. Our Zerg player starting to just really drone up and just get a little powerful here. I felt like Stephano played with a low drone count for a lot of the last game. This game already is up into the 40s. Hopefully, he just keeps on building on that, gets nice and strong, and we can have a good end game clash.
Yeah, he's so the style that he went for in the previous game and the style that Strange went for in the previous game, it's kind of funny because if it had gone, oh, look at this, hold that thought, this is going to be 2 base carrier.
Oh, it is.
Could theoretically be 2 base Tempest, but with the speed of those second gases, I think it's going to be carrier. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's also just way more. It's something we're seeing a lot more in multiple regions right now. We've seen it in Korea. Strange, certainly the kind of player who will do this as much as he possibly can as well. He's just an alternative player. I'm not going to say he's a Strange player. It's too easy a joke to make. It's good. But this is important because, as we said, that Void Ray opener makes it very hard to scout. Stephano doesn't have an Overlord in place. He doesn't have Overlord speed to be able to really get in there easily. He sees the 3rd going down right now. Has he seen the other gases? Okay, he knows at least that the 3rd and 4th gases. He knows the timing of them, which is nice. And could be pretty important. But it's still a little bit scary to identify, right?
Yeah, and you do want to figure this out as soon as possible. We are going to see that +1 air weapons coming down immediately for Strange.
This is the Tau, I feel.
This definitely lets you know that it's going to be Sky Toss for sure. Or at least some variant of Sky Toss. Stephano does see that that cybernetics core spinning away, and of course he knows Warp Gate's down. He sees Warp Gates physically. So the only thing about this is you don't know if it's going to be like double Stargate Void Ray or if it's going to be something like this very, very quick carrier rush. He hasn't seen extra Void Rays yet. But if you're thinking that it's going to be double Stargate carrier, you definitely want to get a couple extra spores at the front to help tank some damage.
And also spores deal with those oh gosh, my mind's gone blank. Interceptors. They deal with them quite well, and they're generally quite tanky if you have queens behind them to transfuse. This general push, I love the Carapace upgrade, so important. This general push is either very difficult, like you never see this just do okay, I feel like. Either all the interceptors die and you've got 2 giant capital ships that are completely useless, or it does a lot of damage. Now, these Lings at the front are annoying. Keeping the Void Rays at home is nice. We can see the Queens here already forced to retreat and use a lot of that energy. The Queen count is really low. Like, 8 is not enough for this. The Spore in the front is going to be doing a lot, taking down some of these interceptors. You can see them going down. Queen's starting to fall, though. Not ideal here. Now the Interceptor's going to start working away at the Spore Crawler. The number, though, as I said, it's already starting to get low on one of these carriers. And if they all fall down, that carrier is worthless.
Yeah, they just become glorified paperweights at that point.
Yeah.
Now, you know, they're high-tech, super expensive, and they fly, but paperweights nonetheless until they regenerate those carriers.
Yep. Another counter-attack here. Stephano wanted to make sure that the 4th hasn't been taken. He doesn't have a Baneling Nest, does he? No. So we're not going to see any run-bys or anything just yet. But Stephano, by building himself a good amount of time here, he's been able to get his, 4th base dropped down. We're seeing Robo, 6 gates, 7 more gates coming down, 8 more gates coming down here from Strange. So he's really not going to commit to a massive Sky Toss. He's actually going to transition quite early. And against a mass Hydralisk Ling army, if you can get into things like Archons and Charge Zealots, it's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, this can be very, very funky. I really like this play out of Strange. This is going to be a kind of pseudo all-in right here. Actually, no, it might just be a full commit all-in because he's not building any more Sky Toss. Nope. He is taking a 4th Nexus.
I mean,
but
not for long.
It's one of those, yeah, like, he's still going to make a big attack, and it still needs to do a ton of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, now Stephano seeing that there's not actually that much more army here might give him indication that something's a bit off. He's not seen any more than 2 carriers at any one time. He sees a few Void Rays, but not too many. He is going into Infestation Pit. He's making drones, which is worrying. I'd really, really like to see a Baneling Nest right now from Stephano. It'd be such a big pickup, I feel like, if he is able to identify what is coming his way and get some Banes or go into Lurkers very quickly. Of course, Hive now just started up, so those upgrades I think is going to be a long way off. But if Strange goes with, does he have a Prism? No. Okay. So I'm surprised he's not making one, actually. There we go. There's that Prism. Once this Prism hits, the Strange makes his way across the map. This is a hell of an army that's going to hit.
Yeah, this is going to be such a powerful push right here. He's really chronoing this +2 heavily. He wants that out in time for this attack. That will give Stephano a lot more time, but Stephano's still droning.
Yeah, oh, man. Just got his Lurker done.
Army supplies and army values are starting to look very one-sided. By the way, look at the amount of spores that Stephano built. He built 10 spores.
Holy
and now, granted,
moly.
It's still a lot of, Void Rays. There's still 5 Void Rays and still 2 carriers, but
oh the real threat's on the ground. Yeah,
more
that's
gateways
insane.
are coming down.
He's going up to 12.
14, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, 2 of them just hadn't warped in yet. They were in the process of, so they didn't show in the building tab as a warp gate. Yeah, you're right, 14 gateways. So no probes being built. This is going to be a huge committed push right now. If Stephano can find a way to get the Prism, that would be great. He really needs time right now, because if he can get Lurkers, he'd be in a much better spot. But this is a terrifying, terrifying army, and I'm very, very worried for Stephano right now. I think he has to evacuate.
I think so too. He does want to fight with these spores, and they will tank a little bit in the front. Carriers are going to get their interceptors out. There's actually not a lot of charge lots here. Strange isn't sending his reinforcements in.
No, the concave here for Stephano is so big as well. There's no interceptors left. Everything's going down. What the heck? This was a better upgraded army, actually an evenly upgraded army, and Stephano was able to push it back without too much issue. I think the spores tanked a lot there, and the queens as well down on the south side. Carrier will fall down, more zealots coming in, but this is giving Stephano time. He's got 17 more Hydras, or did have, in the production tab. Now, there's also been massive damage elsewhere. We can't forget about that. This base has been destroyed. That base has been destructinated. And the economic damage behind this isn't good for Stephano. My one, I guess, saving grace for him is that maybe he has enough army for a big counter push, but he needs to kill this off, like, pretty convincingly now.
Yeah, that he does. I was wondering where the charge logs were with this force, and it turns out they were over potentially just winning the game. That being said, nice flank on these Hydras by Stephano. He does have 2-2 on these Hydras, which is going to be great, but even more damage coming down in the main base. Hydras are terrible against charge lots. That being said, there might be enough Hydras here to just rally out and get the cleanup. Look at the army supply right now. There's only 12 army supply on the map for Strange.
Yeah, and Stephano right now sitting at 57. He has a big Hydra force, and they do have the upgrade, so they're able to get across the map with relative speed, and the creep spread is okay. Stephano has like no drones. He's now making 15. He's actually going to try and just drone his way back out of this as he adds on Hydra upgrades, gets +3 going. I guess the good news here for Stephano is I said he needed to buy time, and both players have kind of done that now. Stephano doesn't have drones, but his army is good, and Strange has workers, but his army is kind of poop, so it kind of just reset a little bit. Interesting game here, but I think coming out of this, I don't hate Stephano's position.
Yeah, I actually really like it. Now that he's getting that, he should have died there. He should have died there. He was teching so aggressively. He was doing so much at once, but he barely managed to survive. And now he's got Hive. He's got, pardon me, going to have that Seismic Spines upgrade. He's getting +3 missile. Like you mentioned earlier, he droned up massively. He did 2 big pumps of 15 drones apiece, and now he sets up these lurkers, and good luck dealing with this with Storm. Well, as I say that, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, but the lurkers did get some big waves in, and now the actual army on the ground is kind of reduced. We see Super Battery coming in. The Archon goes down before it can even come up. There's still a lurker standing, and even one lurker, I mean, 8 together strong, lurker single strong. This base is going to be forced to be evacuated, and we're going to see a good chunk of workers fall down as well.
That we are 9 probes going down. Looks like a bit of harass in the main base. He will kill the spawning pool, which is nice. But he's losing his 3rd base during all this. He's going to lose.
Just making Hydras anyway. Like, he's not making many Lings. He's got 3-3 nearly, well, about halfway done overall here for the Hydras. So they're going to be hitting like a bus soon. In terms of upgrades for our Protoss player, he's got +1 air weapons, which is completely out of use. He does have +3 ground on the way. But yeah, the Storms were good, but you need like 4, I think, to kill a Lurker. And the Lurkers right now are doing exactly what they need to do, and that's going to be zone off Strange, keep his ground army away, while Stephano just shells down with Hydralisk. That's a lot of High Templars, though.
Yeah, you still got to be very, very careful, especially with a primarily Hydralisk army. He does have some of these Lurkers still alive, and he's added on a couple more, but the big power spike is going to come in when that Adaptive Talons finishes up, when that +3 missile finishes up. They're already very, very powerful, but they're going to get even stronger once these 2 upgrades come online, and I really don't see a way for Strange to do much of anything. It would take Stephano really throwing away his army just needlessly.
Carriers coming back in as well. That's so ambitious, I feel like. They take so long to build, and if Stephano is to hit soon, and because he's maxed, I kind of expect he's going to, or very nearly maxed. I expect he's certainly going to try and put pressure on. Although I guess if you're Stephano, you can go, he's on, what, 2 bases? Why did you have to talk about him throwing away his army, Steadfast?
I don't know. I had to invoke it somehow. This game wasn't interesting anymore, so I had to make it interesting.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now Stephano's going to go, though. And he has how many Lurkers? 11.
Yeah, he's got way too many to contend with. He does get some nice Storms, does Strange. Going to cancel a couple Lurker eggs. But he can't contend with the Lurkers that are currently on the field. There are a lot of Immortals here, but Stephano takes a really big concave of Lurkers. Big Storms coming down, but it's not enough. There's just so much here. And
Look at those spines. They're tearing through the army. Stephano is able to decimate it. The Immortals stand strong, but it's not enough. GG, and we go to map 3.
That we do, and Stephano, he looked like he was in a lot of trouble in this game, but he manages to make the hold, the very clutch hold, because I really genuinely thought he was dead there at the end when his main base was breached, and he turns it around and just absolutely takes it down and crushes it.
Yeah, really well played there by Stephano. All of these games I feel like have just been so scrappy and so unpredictable, and we now get to go to a map 3 to see what these guys are capable of, and Stephano getting a win there gives the momentum swing in his favor. He, as we said, is going to be playing 4 best of 3s today, and we're going to be covering every one of them over here on the B stream, as he has had a scheduling conflict, and we never want a player to have to forfeit, so looks like right now I'm going to play Strange. Okay, there we go. We fixed it. He doesn't want that.
Okay,
I'll just kind of rush him. Yeah, the referee. And
I mean, cannon rush is no joke. Oh,
I'm pretty good at it. Okay, we are going to be getting into our 3rd map. It is going to be Blackburn, which is pretty interesting. Very, very good for the old Sky boys. Maybe we'll see it again from Strange.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good on this map. It's hard to get counterattacks in. That being said, this is also a very positional map. A lot of tight chokes, a lot of tight quarters, and Stephano is a big fan of those lurkers, and they're going to be pretty good on this map. So I don't know. I'm very interested in this one. This is a great map for these two players to see how things close on out. Strange has thrown a lot of weird stuff at Stephano, and Stephano he's had mixed results dealing with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. We have now loaded in to map 3. I'm going to find the camera of my very talented observer, Steadfast, who does all the hard work so I can just focus on streaming and chatting in Twitch chat. I fixed everything now, guys, in terms of settings. For some reason, every few days, StarCraft just reverts everything back to some weird settings. But we're now back to damage only health bars, the correct colors, the correct overlay. We've fixed it, so don't worry. Let's introduce our players, because in the bottom left, he is the Chief Information Officer himself, the Blue Zerg player in the blue from France, it's Stephano.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom right, representing Russia. And the color red and the race Protoss, it is Strange.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about it, I hinted towards it, but this is a very good map for two styles here that both of these players like to play. For the Zerg player, Lurkers, and for the Protoss player, Sky Toss, especially Stargate openings. And I feel like both of these players are sort of known for those styles right now. Strange has got some weird 2 and 3 base timings, but his Sky Toss is pretty darn good. And Stephano has, since they were released, just been a Lurker guy.
Oh yeah, he is a huge fan of the lurkers. He's always been one of those players who has carved out his own style. It's not a matter of he plays his own style. He carves it out. Yeah. He makes it his own.
Swarm hosts in the second one, Heart of the Swarm. He was obviously the guy that made a lot of roaches, Broodlord Infester even. He didn't even when it was great, he'd either play it or he wouldn't. He'd still just win because he was Stephano. But yeah, I agree with you. He's always done what he feels like he wants to do and what he enjoys and what he's confident with. And as we were saying earlier, a lot of Zergs right now are green walking. Stephano's like, no, I'm just going to play Lurkers. And I love that about him. I've always said a player with a style is a player that is easier to support and cheer for. Like, you know, you think of Serral and Reyna and they have that counter-attacking Ling style. You think of MMA with Marine splits back in the day and just making tons of Marines and all of these all-time great Zest. I mean, I don't even know how to describe what he does. But yeah.
For me, it's always his engagements. His engagements are just
ridiculous.
So well thought out and so, like, they're so perfect. Like, they're so good.
Yeah. Talking about perfect, Stargate. And that gives us perfect predictions so far of what's going to happen in this game. Strange opening with our Stargate. It is at home, no proxies or anything. You don't need to on this map, really. The air distance, even with those deceleration zones, is so minimal. Bit of a scout coming in here. Strange just going to use that adapt to make sure there's no gases down, no, you know, roach roaring in the front or anything strange like that. Haha, this is a weird scout. Is he going to drop a pylon here?
That's what I'm wondering
too. Oh, Phoenixes.
Yeah. We saw in DNS versus Lambo. DNS went double Stargate Phoenix, and he did eventually get to a macro game, but like there was a Queen Walk that came in from Lambo, and it just shut down his third base and put him so far behind. And I mean, he was able to play it out from there and played a really solid game afterwards.
Yeah.
But Phoenixes are not that great in this matchup anymore unless you can really catch your opponent off guard with them.
I hope Rotterdam's not listening because you're in so much trouble if he is. I watched the stream for a few hours yesterday and I saw some games where I was like, this is never going to work, and then he lifted everything and I'm like, this is going to work. So yeah, Phoenix is just off the 1 Stargate so far. No second one coming down just yet, but when you see this amount of Phoenixes, you don't think it is likely to be 2 Stargate Phoenix. That's more meta. So I'm interested actually if Strange has a kind of just making 3 or 4 Phoenixes into ground composition. He has that proxy going down right now, and I mean, it is close.
Yeah, it's in a really, really strange position right here. Nah, damn it.
It's so hard, isn't it?
It's impossible. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
I agree. Adepts coming in. Is this Rotterdam playing? This looks like Rotterdam.
It feels like it too. We are going to see a couple of Adepts warping on in here, and this is actually going to be really good because Stephano doesn't really have anything at home.
And the Queens are being pulled out of position here by the Phoenixes, so there's still a couple down, but there's only one in the natural. Ling's going to be forced to run back, but a couple of drones should definitely go down here. If he can get 4 or 5 drones, he can be happy with this. Doesn't look like it's going to be 4, just the 3. But if, okay, Queens don't go down as well. Did he kill a single Queen? No. 3 drones for 2 Adepts and 1 Ling. It's okay. It wasn't. He's going to lose a pylon though, isn't he? So it wasn't committed, but it was alright, I suppose.
Yeah, it could have done a lot. It did a little. It wasn't a horrible commitment. Like, it was okay. Now this is pretty nice. Yeah, this is really nice.
Yeah, now we're looking at like 9 dead drones. Sorry, 8 in total, I think. Yeah, 8 dead drones, and if he can get maybe 1 more on the way out, that would be nice too. He's got the potential to kill any overlords that are moving around here. This is much better, and the gold base is already scouted. That's a really important thing there for the pylon to see, to know exactly when that gold base is being taken. Might give Strange the sort of gumption to just, okay, he's going to drop his 3rd. That is late 3rd, but I was wondering if he was just going to drop like 3 or 4 more gates and go, but no, he is going to go up to 3 bases, probably go up to like 10 gates and then be the aggressor. He still has map control with Phoenixes, so we're kind of at a pretty similar stage of the game here. Stephano's going for a really quick Hydra, Dan.
That he is. Yeah, getting roaches, getting roach speed, getting that +1 missile.
He's not training.
Hydras are going to be helpful against these Phoenixes. They're not why he's getting them. He wants probably lurkers eventually. But for now, Hydras, they're just good units overall.
He's not made a drone. Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry, carry on.
No worries. This is, like you talked about it, this is why Phoenix styles are kind of uncommon. This was like a 6-minute 3rd base.
Yeah.
This is so damn late. If you go Void Ray, you can get a sub 4-minute base, 4-minute 3rd. As it is right now, like, this is... I mean, Strange is going to move out with a weird little push right here. He does love these sentries. And he might actually be able to trap some of these drones at the, like, on the mineral patches.
That'd be cute.
Which would be kind of cute.
Yeah.
But he's going to get something done.
Yeah, he needs to get something, even if it's just pushing creep back. Killing a few of these drones would be nice, force fielding them in, and that's exactly what we're going to see. It was only 3 in the end, but, you know, he'll also get the Spore Crawler, which means the Phoenixes now have a little bit more free reign. Oh, that one drone's going to get Tickle Cannon to death, and it will go down. That's cute. 4 drones there for a couple of Phoenix energy. Oh, sorry, for a couple of Sentry energies. A recall coming in. I find that a little unusual. I don't know if that was necessary. Maybe concerned about a counter Ling run by because he didn't have a wall or an aesthetic D. That's a lot of gateways going down.
Yeah, it's a lot of gateways coming
he's
down.
only going up to 8 though. Okay, it's not too bad. Strange plays so weird.
He does. I still feel like... So the thing is, Stephano's economy hasn't really run away with this game, which is nice for Strange. But it also feels like Strange has slowed himself down just so much.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. We are going to see Hive coming on down, as well as that Lurker Den once again. Stephano, well, if he can get up to Lurkers, this is going to be really, really powerful against the army that Strange currently has. That being said, Strange might look to go for a big Colossus timing here. 2 more Robos. Once again. Oh,
it's going up to 3 Robos before 10 minutes. That's a little unusual, I'd say. Going to be able to pump out a huge amount of either Disruptors, which are pretty darn good, or just keep on the Colossus count and go up to maybe 6 or 7. I'm very curious here as to what all these Robos... Of course, Immortals as well, very good against Lurkers. He's preparing for a Lurker army, definitely. He's getting armor upgrades. He's getting now... Archons will be joining the fray very soon. So he's certainly prepared for the style. He's playing his opponent more than he's playing the race, which I love. It did leave him very vulnerable in the last like minute or so, I'd say, to Stephano's army. And Stephano actually does have a Ling who has seen everything. The good news for Stephano is he's going up to his 5th base. His creep spread is very solid across 3 different avenues, which is the most important thing. He's going to be able to set up run-bys quite easily. But for Strange, I like that he's kept the Phoenixes alive. We saw it in DNS Lambo, what 5 or 6 or a few more Phoenixes can do in a Lurker comp. They can take out so much of that army from the fight. I mean, with that many spores, it'll be tricky, but...
Yeah, that's just not happening with that many spores, but the idea is really, really nice. Oh, here's the problem with the spores, though. They will actually kind of trap those queens, 2 of them do go down. But the observer goes down, and that means if there was ever a chance of pushing into it, it just became 0. Like, you can't push into that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, these games are so unusual, you know, especially, like, for myself, who's been working in other titles for the last few weeks. You come back and you're like, okay, gonna see some standard meta games to get myself back into it, and then you see this, and you're like, what is happening? So apologies for any completely wrongness coming out from my mouth. I'm done.
You're not the only one. It's not the matter
no one
of
really
not
knows.
Following the meta. This is just weirdness.
Fiestas.
Finally, that's the first Phoenix to go down. So good job from Strange overall, keeping those alive. But nice work from Stephano going on the hunt for these.
I want to talk about the drone count of Stephano, because he never ever goes up high. Like, I don't think I've seen him hit 80 in the last few games. Or if he does, he doesn't stay there very long. I know he makes a lot of spores. Of course, he's currently got how many? 11 spore crawlers on the field, which is wild, seeing as the army that they deal with is 4 Phoenixes and 1 Oracle. Might be overkill.
A little bit.
But 74 drones now. It's a pretty low count. We're going to see the Lurkers though jump in. Oh my god, that's so much damage. But they are getting lifted now. Those Phoenixes coming into play as all of those spore crawlers aren't in place. Stephano just got destroyed.
Yeah, why did he just do that?
He should have given him the base.
That was so brutal. He just, like, rushed them. Oh, Spore Crawlers just killed a Colossus, by the way. How many observers are there here? Oh, they might all get taken out, actually.
Oh, they will.
They all went down to the spore. And all of a sudden, Strange's army is going to collapse right here.
There's only 1 Lurker left, though, so it takes a long time. And actually, if there's anything near it, it can be targeted and killed. You can see how far back it is in order to stay safe. But this is giving Stephano time to get some reinforcements in, as he desperately needs. In terms of army value right now, it's damn even steadfast. And we're going to see, once these Immortals start to fall, there'll be nothing to protect the Colossus. The Immortals will go down, and that's going to allow more Lurkers, hopefully, to stand strong, because Stephano needs them, like, right now.
There were so many points of that fight where both of them just made the weirdest decisions. Stephano thought he could jump on his opponent's army, but he had pure Lurker, no range upgrade, and no tank for it. And then Strange ran into like 7 Spore Crawlers with 4 Observers and a bunch of Colossus, lost all the Observers, lost one of the Colossus. These are things I've literally never seen before. Like, this just doesn't happen.
And now we can see once again that the Observer's going to go down again. There's no Observers. Oh, there's one right in the back, but it's nowhere near these Lurkers. And the Lurkers are just going to tear through. Stephano bum rushing his opponent. He's tearing through this army again. Hydra's in the back just offering DPS, and they do a lot of it. Roach is trying to push back the Colossus, and both of these players just tearing each other apart. But I feel like if Stephano can get underneath this, as he just has, that Colossus will fall down. And Strange has now lost so many key units, including all his Observers. Oh, he's got 1 somewhere. Okay, he has cannons, so this is so weird.
It is just bizarre. 8 Observers have died in this game, and I think all of them have been in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Ooh, big Zealot run by coming in on this base. Hydras do not deal well with this, but he's got enough here. Got a couple of lanes to tank, and he's going to push this back. Good job from Stephano. By the way, just nice little attention to detail. Look at this. Stephano, he's got creep pooping just all over these 5th and 6th potential bases. Great move from Stephano. The triple Robo, the fact that it has not been successful, even though Stephano has not built a single Viper, is kind of bonkers. Like, it should have been pretty good against this.
Disruptor play has begun, though, and Disruptor's pretty good against this composition. I'm interested, actually, if we look at resources lost in total. Stephano has lost more as expected, but it's really not that bad for him. He's done a pretty good job. He's not lost many drones either. He's got 17 Lurkers. That's the bulk. We've seen all the Colossus have gone down now, and Stephano has just managed to split the army in half.
Oh, the Disruptor stays alive thanks to the battery overcharge gets a big shot there. Immortals are going to kind of flank this army. Ooh, is there enough here?
It's close.
Man, there's a lot of shield batteries.
Yeah. And the Immortals are so good. They can tank those extra hits from the Lurkers. Now, up on the high ground, that's a little scarier. They don't want to really push up to that because they will all line up. Stephano managed to kill 23 probes with a bunch of Lings at the same time, though. Alongside his main army, and that's now put Strange down to less than 60 workers, Steadfast, which ain't great. And Stephano behind this, he's getting +3/+3. That's going to finish in 10 seconds, so his army's going to be very strong. He's getting 8 more Lurkers. He's getting 6 more Lurkers. And his drone count is still pretty strong. He's able to take more bases. Like, he's got half of the map now, including one of those contested bases at the 12 o'clock point, where Strange is at this point, he's on 2 bases, theoretically. I mean, that 2 1/4, we'll give it that.
Yeah, he's not mining much. I would even... Yeah, I think 2 1/4 is being pretty generous, but
yeah.
We'll, it's not a good economic situation for him. That being said, this is still a lot of disruptors. Stephano's got to be very careful. 4 disruptors, soon to be 5.
5
but now Lurker's moving in on his right side. Stephano with a nice split. He is going to be able to take down both of the Robos. Will he?
Yeah, he's going to get them, I think.
Kill him. Target him. Oh,
nice.
He's going to get him. Nice job. Meanwhile, push at the front. Oh, but the disruptor shots do click 2 of the Lurkers, make it 4 of them going down. So there's a really funny scenario we haven't talked about. +2 armor is done. So these Lings with no upgrades, they actually take forever to kill anything they get on top of. But Lurkers do not. 24 probes just got obliterated.
We've seen 47 die in total, and I'm pretty sure that's all been in the last, like, minute or 2. Just a huge amount of damage. Stephano still has, I think, a couple of Lurkers up at the 3rd base as well. He's now going to retreat with them. Yeah, they're just damaging away. They're getting a couple of probes. They might get that pylon. And Artosis loves that pylon. He told me, he whispered in my ear last night how important it is to him. And we see that go down. That's 4 gateways now, unpowered, which means even less army coming in here for Strange. I mean, he has no money, so it doesn't matter too much. Now we're seeing the counter. This game is so weird, Steadfast.
Yeah, it is. Stephano basically just needs to hold on, but that is going to be a bit of a tall order against 6 disruptors. Well, first 2 shots do come in. They connect pretty nicely. Another 2 are going to come in, hitting a couple more Lurkers. Is this going to be enough, though, Stephano? He's just hit his own Archons with that, and Lurkers are going to chew through everything.
Way too many, and now they're on cooldown, and just like that, GG!